Hi, and welcome to the tutorial for base tips and tricks. Now, most of the other tutorials have gone over some of the basic types of functions that we have within the base system. Some of those tutorials may have included a couple of these tips, but I wanted to make sure that I put them all in one place for our more advanced users that just want to see what the tips are, our tricks are, specifically without having to sit through an entire tutorial about a specific function. Now, what I also touch upon here, in addition to some of the little tricks that we have, would be how to copy documents from one scenario to another. I'm also going to show you how to copy documents from prior periods, and I also am going to show you how to copy comments from prior periods. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'd first like to show you is how to download your expense and revenue information from your revenue and estimate forms directly into Excel. So let's go ahead and I'm going to click on departments. We're going to go to, let's say, expense budget. We're going to use the executive office, and I'm going to click search, and then let's go ahead and just start with appropriation 1. So a couple of things I want to show you here. Number one is that you can reorder how these different items show up. So for department requested, you can reorder from lowest to highest. So if that makes it easier for you, you can go ahead and go by account. This is helpful if you've been adding additional accounts to this particular form and you want them to be in sequential order. You can order them by description, of course. What you can also do is you can download all of this information into an Excel format, which can be very helpful if you need to make adjustments to specific items, but you don't want to go through and actually manually calculate what the adjustment would be and then add them in. So how you would do this is that you're going to click this little item here. For some computers, just clicking that will automatically open Excel for you. For other computers, you'll need to hold down the shift key and open at the same time. It's okay that this message comes up. You're going to say yes, you want to open the file now. And then notice here, all of that information from that screen is now available to you. Now let's say that you've been told that you want to add 5% to all of them. You could add a column, add 5%, and now you have the numbers available to you that you'll need to type in to your department requested expense budget. So that's really helpful for a lot of departments. What I'll go ahead and also show you, you've got clear requested. Sometimes this requested information that comes in, it's confusing. Say you have multiple items that you want to change and you're kind of jumping back and forth, and at some point you become unclear about what you've changed. So if you click this button, and it'll ask you, do you want to clear all the values from the department requested column? We'll say yes. And now you start with a clean slate where you can just re-enter all the amounts that you need as you see fit. Now this may not be as helpful for those who carry the same budget numbers over from budget to budget, but it is helpful for those who may have some major changes, and it's much easier just to start with a clean slate and type the numbers in than to have to erase and then make changes to each of those. Another option you have is within the comment section. If you click that, there is a copy comment button here, and what that will do is it can actually pull comments from previous years. Now you have to have had a comment from previous years, but I'll go ahead and show you how this looks anyway. We'll click this. And what it would have done had there been some information from a prior year is it would have pulled it directly in here. Now if you want to look at what types of comments you have had, you can navigate to the reporting tools. We'll go ahead and say it's okay to continue without saving. You're going to go to your query viewer. You're going to go to description. We're going to enter in a %sign and comment. And then we've got two items here that might be helpful. We got expense budget with comments and revenue estimates with comments. And what this will do is it will allow you to see what type of comments are there. So let's look at previous budget period, and we'll go here to here, and scenario is requested. And this will show all the comments that are actually there for this particular budget. So this will let you know, if you like, which particular items that you can copy the comments into. So that's particularly helpful. So like we're looking here, you've got for 2015, you had something for this specific department, and the description was CalCap reimbursement. So you could actually pull in that particular comment when you're in that specific section within the budget. So let's go ahead and close this out. And we'll close this. And of course, this is a little slow right now. Okay. Another thing that I want to show you is how to copy forms. So you're going to go to Base. You will go to Department Processes, and we have a couple of options here. Some of you use the same travel requests each year, or you have a long list of prior year travel requests. So you are able to copy that information over. How you would do that is you would go into Department Processes, say copy prior year travel request. This is the same for finance equipment, prior year cash purchases, and prior year vehicle requests. You will come to this screen. You can either find an existing value if this is something that you've done every year, or you can add a new value, which is what we'll do. We'll say copy travel request 16 for 2016. We'll add that. And it'll take you to this screen. You will select the business unit, of course. Let's say auditor controller. You'll pick the fund. And you'll tell it you want to take from the prior period to the current period, and you want to take the final scenario to the requested scenario. You can either do by debit ID, or you can do it by business unit. If you do it by business unit, it's going to bring over all the information for the entire unit. So this is very helpful. You click run, and of course once you get to the next screen, you would click OK. And of course for this particular one, it just means that this scenario did not exist from the prior year. But had there been information in there, it would have taken you to the next screen. You would have told it OK, and it would have actually populated all your travel request information, which if we go to the department processes, I'm going to go ahead and click cancel, and you had picked up your business unit, you would see all of the travel request information for you. A couple of more items. One of the big items that you'll have is if you're doing multiple scenarios for your department, and you want to make sure that you're using, you want to have at least 2 or 3 scenarios where you can kind of play with the numbers without taking a risk that you'll do anything to your actual original request. So we're going to go to the department copy from function. We're going to add a new value. I'm going to call it EO copy new scenario. I'm going to add. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick up executive office. Of course, we got the budget period. I'm going to go by business unit because I want it to pick up the entire business unit. Form ID, there are multiple forms here. Let's say that I want to pick up form 1. and I want to copy it from my requested scenario, which is what I in previous tutorials have created, and I wanted to put it into scenario 1. I would run, click OK, and then I can look at the process monitor and take a look at how that's progressing. Once it's been successfully posted, I can then go into that different scenario, and I can actually make changes to that report and allow, say, one of the managers with the approver type security level within the system to take a look at it and see if they like it. And let's say that we make some changes to scenario 1 and we decide that is the scenario for that form that we want to turn into the executive office. We would then copy the form into the new scenario, which would be from scenario 1 into the requested scenario, and it would overwrite our requested scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. It's now been successfully posted. So let's go ahead and we're going to go to personnel requirements, which is our form 1, and I'm going to do executive office. I'm going to do a search, and notice now there is a scenario 1 for that particular item and for that particular depth ID. Okay, so if you wanted to do a backup, which I recommend anytime right after you run the payroll calculator and you have the information populated into that form 1, I would automatically copy the form into a backup scenario, so that if there's a lot of changes that are made and you decide, you know, we want to start all over but we don't want to rerun the payroll calculator, you have that backup document that you can change. Now let's say we want to change this scenario 1 back into the requested scenario. How we would do that is we would again go to department processes, department copy form. I'm going to search, and I'm going to use the same run control that I created before. So that's EO copy new scenario. I'm going to change from scenario 1 to requested. And it's going to give you a note that says that scenario already exists. Are you sure you want to override it? And I'm going to say yes, because I actually want scenario 1 to replace it. I'd run, and it's going to ask me again, and I definitely want to override it. Click OK. Yes, I want to override it. And then we'll go to our process monitor. And what this is going to do is it's going to change that scenario 1 information into our requested scenario. Now you'll want to be very careful with this, because of course if you change a scenario into the requested scenario, you overwrite it and there's no change. You can't undo it. So to be safe, I would always make backup copies of any type of scenario that you plan to overwrite, so in case down the line you decide you want to go back to the original, you'll have it available to you. So we'll click refresh. See that it's successfully posted, and let's take a look at what that looks like. So we're going to go to form 1, personnel requirements. We're going to click EO. We'll do a search, and notice you've got all these scenario 1s that are still there. However, it has been the information from scenario 1 has now been now overwrites your requested scenario. Okay, so that will conclude this tutorial for BASE tips and tricks.